I'm out of town, hence the background is different. But I just wanted to pop on here really quick and do a video. And I don't think it'll take too long, honestly. It's a pretty quick topic. I mean, I would love to dig into it more, but like I said, we're keeping things short and sweet here. So today I wanted to primarily talk about community and one of the ways that the enemy tends to attack us in that arena and cause divisions and mess ups and stuff, right? So in my class last semester, during lecture one of the weeks, we talked about a book by Kurt Thompson called The Soul of Desire. And in that, he spells out 4 basic human needs, right? So the first one is seen, which means, attachment, being healthy, and being appreciated, valued. The second one is soothed, which is recognizing that you have something to contribute for the good of others. The third one is safe. So the sense of belonging, not being at risk based on behavior. And 4, secure, which means safe in a community that accepts them, right? So seen, soothed, safe, secure. And in recent months, the thing that has pressed on me the most about those 4 human desires, one, if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's kind of similar, where the theory is that when those needs are met, there is a freedom to be creative, be open, and willing to take risk, which is important for all human beings to grow, to see progress in their lives, and for their flourishing. But the more I thought about all of those things, I was like, they all hinge on the anchor of community, right? On people. And in that, and I don't have a bunch of like practical steps on like, here's exactly how to do this or redirect this, but I just really have an invitation today for you to do that thinking, maybe for yourself, to maybe even do a little researching for yourself, or maybe ask around to some people that you love and care about, that you trust their opinion, and get some personalized advice, right? So there's 2 plates. There's the plate of self-sacrificing, overgiving, and then there's this plate of me, self-isolation, right? So if you're all the way over here, this one's here, and then if you're all the way over here, this one's here. And what we're trying to do is balance out the plates, right? So we want to be self-sacrificing in a way that we are meaningfully contributing to the world around us, the people that we care about, and we also want to be aware of ourselves and aware of our boundaries that we have to have in order to be healthy and to actually be able to serve the people over here without being miserable or burning out or falling apart physically, mentally, emotionally, right? So the temptation in our general culture, I would say, is like this bucket here, the me bucket. When you go all the way here, sure, you might not be extending yourself on behalf of others, but you're also really lonely and isolated. And we are currently in a loneliness epidemic, right? Especially younger generations, when we think about communication and interpersonal relationships, conflict resolution, all of those things. They're kind of like, yeah, right? So we don't want to be here. But if we're all the way over here, we're very likely sick, tired. We don't have a great sense of self. And I can say all this because I was her, right? I did this for a really long time. And again, if you don't know, I have multiple chronic health conditions, autoimmune disorders. That all extends from I was like this for a really long time. I didn't think that I was safe to have boundaries, that I was safe to say no. And a lot of those core needs that we talk about, that is a part of why I think I ended up in this bucket for so long, is like, I thought that if I said no, or that if I had a voice, if I had boundaries, I would not be safe in my community. I wouldn't be accepted by my community. I didn't have the freedom to take risk, right? And that is the story of a lot of people, right? And so that hyper drastic response is to go over here. And so as an adult, I've had to really figure out, like, what is that line for me? And why does it matter, right? And I think it matters for everybody, because human beings are designed, like, whether you believe in a higher power or not, human beings are designed to be interconnected, interdependent with each other. And if that was not the case, then we would not be born so helpless. There are many species that pop out the womb much more capable than a human being. Um, and I think that's why attachment theory is such an important area of conversation. If anyone is not familiar with attachment theory, there are four basic attachments. There is anxious, preoccupied, secure attachment, disorganized / fearful avoidant attachment, and dismissive avoidant attachment. I am not going to dig into those today, but I do have a plan later on to do a mini series on them. So if you're interested at all and you want to kind of get ahead of that, please feel free to research. But it's just true that we are all ingrained with an attachment system that comes from those early formative years where we are essentially helpless and we have to do what we have to do to survive. And that doesn't mean that every single person is traumatized and had a terrible childhood. It just means to raise children that feel emotionally seen is hard, especially when your parents come from places where they weren't emotionally seen, and then you go back on up the bucket, right? But at the end of the day, community is the anchor that supports our human needs, right? And I think that's really significant. And so my challenge to you today is to just think about, like, okay, here's the scale. Am I feeling in the middle? Am I teetering a little bit? Am I here? Am I here? And why? And what can I do about it? So if you don't have a lot of meaningful community, or you've made like your 5 friends and you are tired and you don't want to make any more, and you're good and you do it all yourself and you're super independent, like, consider, maybe that's a little community service. Maybe that's intentionally like joining a group or finding a new hobby, like go get into a runner's club. I don't know. And that's not even giving to other people. That could also be a great thing. I found that helps a lot of people to like volunteer, do some service work. And then if you're like all the way over here, you really need to sit with yourself and be like, what are my boundaries? Like, what are my boundaries as a human being? When do I need time to rest? What things do I enjoy doing? What things absolutely like steal the life out of me? What people tend to use me more than they meet me in the middle? And how can I adjust those boundaries? And am I willing to risk losing these people? Because until you're willing to risk losing the people in your life that take advantage of you, you're not ready to do the work to get here. And again, I'm saying all this to me because this was me for a long time. I couldn't start the work until I accepted that, like, I love this person, whether it's family, friend, whoever. I love this person. I've overextended for them for, years to possibly decades. When I hit the brakes, it's going to be uncomfortable. And I have to trust that if they're still supposed to be in my life, they're going to respect it and they're going to readjust to me in the boundaries that I've set now. So, LOL. Anyways, so I think that's all I have for today. And I hope this was helpful and not harmful and all the things. So, yeah, I will see you guys next week. Bye.